I'm Kelly Kearney with Starry Constellation Magazine, and with me today, it's a big treat because he's taking his time out of his preparation for South by Southwest to talk about his to talk about his band's self-titled album dropping this week. Welcome, Mitch Vinegar from Two-Man Giant Squid. Thank you
Hello,
for
thank you.
joining me.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. So, maybe for fans who don't know, kind of describe your sound and how this Brooklyn-based band came together.
Sure. We're kind of an eclectic band and kind of mix. We don't really rely on one type of sound or anything. We take inspirations from a lot of like art punk, um, and some kind of classic indie that kind of was boiling up around the 90s and 2000s. Um, I think we fall into the post-punk genre, but that's kind of been a
It's
widening
huge.
term.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I would say that we go for a very energetic sound, very like matter of fact vocal delivery. Sometimes like people call them like speaky vocals instead of like very singy stuff. Um, but yeah, we're kind of known for our live shows here around Brooklyn, and we have a new album coming out, so that's exciting. And I think this is our third and a half year being a band, so I guess fairly on the newer side, but we'll be going down to South by Southwest shortly to spread our wings a little bit.
Yeah. And your music, you mentioned sort of some inspiration, late 90s, early 2000s. Your music is really guitar driven, but
Mhm.
I also hear echoes of like Modest Mouse in there.
Yeah.
So who were those early influences that you guys kind of like look to as inspiration?
Well, you hit it right on the head. Modest Mouth is a big inspiration for kind of some of our our more kind of like guitar driven tracks. We have some LCD Sound System inspiration, some of our dancier stuff in terms of lyrics as well, and going even back further than that, some Talking Heads and things
Mhm.
like that. And yeah, other like early 2000s stuff. I mean, there was a band called Titus Andronicus.
Mm.
It was a New Jersey band that I just kind of really like their way around songwriting and structures. And I think they're a little similar to the way that someone like Car Seat Headrest writes music. So I think maybe in terms of song structure, that's we take a lot from that as well.
Well, you mentioned your self-titled album. It's coming out March 7th, so this coming up week. What are some themes fans can expect from the album, and like any surprises that your Brooklyn-based fan group will be excited about?
Yeah, it's a very kind of introspective album about kind of passion, obsession, kind of how we deal with those things. There's a few songs on it that are kind of taken almost exactly from band fights or band conversations that we've had around town, and just kind of broadcasting them. I think it's important um, for bands to not always be so cryptic about what they're writing about or singing about, and just kind of give it to you like exactly how it happened. So. Um, there's a song called Weird Recordings that we already have out that kind of encaptures that. And there's a song coming up called Don't Go to Snare World, which is a very long kind of electric kind of dance punk song that touches on that as well.
Well, the single "I Think I'm in Love" it's the latest one that's been released. What about that song that made it the right choice for the first sort of tester of the album for the
Yeah,
fans?
so I think I'm in Love is kind of our take on a spiritualized song from 1997. But we do it pretty differently. That the spiritualized version is like a 6 minute track. Ours is like a 3 minute track. So we cut out various parts of it and kind of drop you right into this like vocal I think I'm in Love refrain that I really like. And we built like a bit of a psyche moment around that song. I don't like to think too much of like why like deciding on what's a single or something like that. Our music isn't super, what's the word? It's not completely accessible to like the average listener, and I don't
Right.
want to try and be that. So I think maybe there are more like single-ish tracks on the album, but I just kind of I liked this one as like a tester and as a taste of, hey, we're gonna do something different. We're gonna, here's a single that has like a minute and a half intro before we even say anything. So I wanted to kind of perk ears up that way.
Well, how have the fans been reacting to? I'm sure you've been testing the songs out on stage and performances. How have they been reacting to the music?
Yeah, it's been good. It's been really exciting. Actually, that one, I Think I'm in Love, was our live opener for a while, a bit last year. We weren't even planning on recording it, but it kind of got a little bit of a reaction. We said, okay, maybe this fits into our album. But yeah, it's been good. We just had a show at Fordham University that they put on for us, and we tried out a lot of our songs there for the students there, and they seem to be going pretty crazy. So we're happy about that, and hopefully, people at South by will receive us well as well.
I think this year South by has a lot of art punk bands showing up. I'm interviewing a lot of them, so you guys are going to have some good company, and I think you're going to maybe open some minds and some ears to some new styles of music and out in Austin. Let's talk about that songwriting process. As you are a five-piece band, you have two guitars, a bass, a drum, and a synth. How did you approach writing? Does it come together organically in rehearsals, or is it more like a structured approach that everyone has a say in, and you kind of build it
Yeah,
together as a band?
it's a good question. So we're a little different in that this project started as kind of just a bedroom recording of
Right.
myself. That was kind of our first EP. And I had no plans to even start a band. Like that was like the last thing on my mind until someone was like, "Hey, you should play these on stage." And I was like, "Wait, can I do that?" So I had to find a band, and luckily these four have been with me for a long time, and now the process has slowly gotten more and more collaborative. I like to kind of bring ideas into the rehearsal room. They're fairly flushed out, but I think even playing them for the first time, hearing their take, our bassist might have a bass line that I didn't think of, or the drummer might, do something that I didn't have on my idea that I think has been really good for us to take and move forward with. So this album has a lot of inputs from a lot of different people.
Oh wow! So when I was listening to the album, I kind of fell then back down the rabbit hole of the band earlier works, and I really enjoyed. Actually, I wanted to point this out. I really enjoyed Maryland, Virginia from the 2022 album, Abyssal Gigantism.
Yeah.
Is there a story behind that song? Person who lived in Brooklyn and then or lived in Queens and then moved to Maryland. I heard that. I was like, I want to know what this song's about.
Yeah, thank you. That's one of my favorite tracks from that album as well. It's kind of a breakup song, but not so much with a person, more of like with a time in your life and with an area in your life. Um, I had lived in Maryland and Virginia, right out of college, when I was kind of trying to start my creative process of writing music, but I really wasn't getting inspiration from the people there or my time there. Not to say it's not a great place, it's just that it wasn't for me. Um, and I kind of wanted to write about kind of leaving that behind and not being able to not having a good experience with that part of my life that I wanted to have and how I felt myself drawn closer to New York. I think there's a line in there like New York will always have you when you're broken or something. I don't know, something like that. It's been a
Yeah.
while since I wrote that one, but yeah, it was kind of it's more of a bit of a breakup song with that time in my life.
Oh wow, I really like that because I kind of got that from the song and I was thinking about how you I thought maybe you were like sitting in Maryland kind of thinking about where your creativity is going and it wasn't there. I know
Yeah,
the Baltimore music scene can have ebbs and flows, but New
yeah,
York is always kind of solid. There's always an underground beat going.
for
Um,
sure.
while touring, you've been testing out these songs, like you said. Is there a song that the fans are really into that maybe even surprised you that you're like, oh wow, I didn't expect that one to hit like it did?
Yeah, we have this new one coming called Don't Go to Snare World, which it's right in the middle of the album. It's a long track. And it kind of gets a little crazy with the like arpeggiators and kind of just jamming on like a really dance punk style beat. And we didn't know how we were going to do this one live, but we started to kind of it started to come into its own, and now I think it's kind of a highlight of our set. So I'm really excited to show more people that one.
Yeah, that's great when like a song you didn't expect is going to hit. And you're like, oh
Yeah,
wow, look at that! It just landed in a way I didn't even imagine it would. You
exactly.
mentioned earlier you started as a DIY bedroom band, but recording in a small Brooklyn studio, and then you were able to record in Clive Davis's studio for I think it was the 2023 Dogs. I remember watching the video for that. How did that come about?
Yeah, so we wanted to work with one of our friends who was taking classes at that studio at Clive Davis at NYU. And we were kind of talking through where could we record this, and he was just like, "Yeah, I need to get hours in at the studio." if you want to come in after hours and like I'll record you guys. And that was like for a band just starting out, not too much budget. That was kind of like a blessing, to be able to use this unbelievable equipment. Like I think the equipment we recorded on was like what the Beastie Boys used to like record their album.
Wow.
And we didn't have to pay too much because obviously it was like kind of almost like a student project type thing. So yeah, we kind of got in there after hours and laid down some tracks. So we're really thankful to Sam who helped record us.
Yeah, that's a great experience, and I'm sure it's leagues different from a DIY situation that you're recording in Brooklyn.
Yeah.
Yeah. So from Brooklyn to Austin, I think you guys are gonna take the festival by storm. What was your reaction when you found out you're gonna be playing at South by Southwest?
I was really pumped. This was something kind of on my list for a while. We had an album out last year that didn't quite correspond with the timing of the festival, but a lot of our friends went, and I felt like I was watching their Instagram stories. I was being like, man, I really want to be there. So we're really pumped that we got in this year. It's been a bit of a dream of mine since we started this band.
What was the process you guys went through to gather the list for the performance? Was there anything,
Got
or just straight from the album? When you were processing what new songs you were going to play at the festival, how did
Yeah.
that go?
Yeah, so we're still, we're still processing through it. We just had a rehearsal last night to kind of finalize some of the things we'll be taking down there. But I do want to promote the new album first and foremost, so it'll be a lot of songs from the new album. We have some songs in our back pocket that we know are kind of crowd pleasers. Progress from our last album is one. Opposite is another one from our last album is another one. So I think those it'll be tough for those to leave the set, but we want to give people kind of a new taste of this kind of direction that we're heading in.
Yeah, and are there? I mentioned that there's a lot of bands going, especially in this kind of very large post-punk genre. Are there some musical acts that you're really excited to see there when you go?
Yeah, yeah, and I'm glad you mentioned that there's a lot you've been talking to a lot that are going. I feel like art punk and post punk are so big in Europe right now that
Yes.
in the US it's been a little bit lagging behind. I think so hopefully maybe after South by we'll people will wake up to what we're doing. But I am really excited to see a band called Les Security. I'm not sure if I pronounce it right, but they're a Montreal post punk band. They're doing a lot of similar things that we're trying to do. Um, and there's a few great bands from the New York scene also going down. TVOD is
Yeah,
one.
I'm interviewing them. Yeah.
Oh, phenomenal. Yes,
Yeah.
a great band. Consumables is another one. So I have to keep looking down the list. It seems like every time I log onto that South by website, I'm like overwhelmed at the list of bands. I'm like, how do
It's
I make a
huge.
schedule on this? But I'm sure there's going to be a lot of great post-punk acts for us to check out.
Yeah, there's a really good art punk teenage band going called Man Woman Chainsaw. You should check them
Oh,
out.
definitely I will. I'll
They're
write
really
that down.
wild. And they're teenagers and they're really killing the scene. They're out of London. You should check
Awesome.
them out for sure. Is there any dream collaborations you guys have? Like another band, another artist you'd love to work with?
Um, I don't know about anyone specific, but I would love to either remix someone's work or have our work remixed. I used to kind of be like a, producer of more like electronic based music. We have a song on the new record called I Was a DJ in 2015, which kind of talks about that. And I haven't done much of that probably in the last like 10 years. And I think like people remixing songs is becoming a little more popular. There's a band in New York called Gift that just had a great remix album. There's a band called Simon Spine that just remixed MGMT's song. So I would love to kind of be in that world and start getting my friends' music and kind of putting my take on it. I think that'd be really exciting.
Yeah, that is exciting. What would you like to say to the fans that obviously you've built this like core base in Brooklyn? You're gonna maybe blow the doors off of Austin. What would you like to say to those fans who have followed you along and now you're gonna make new ones in Austin? What would you like to say to them?
Well, first of all, thank you. I mean, like where we are and where we've gotten to, like I would never have even imagined. I just wanted to kind of put out an album and make one person be like, "Hey, that was cool." And so now seeing people at shows and kind of keeping up with our music is crazy, and it's a big reason why we are going to South by. So, we're excited, hopefully, to make those fans proud and and give them what they kind of signed up for in the beginning when they started following us, but also show them that we're kind of pushing the envelope of our sound. We're getting more ambitious, we're getting crazier, sweatier. So it's gonna be a fun time.
Well, I look forward to seeing where the year takes you. I also look forward to seeing more videos from you guys. You guys have a really great video presence, very funny, and I feel like it fits perfectly in like this post-punk genre because there is a little bit of tongue-in-cheek comedy, a little bit in those older videos back in the day, you know?
Yeah, that's a big part of us, tongue in cheek. I think there's a lot of things in the world to be that are really fucked up right now. I don't know if I
Yeah.
curse.
No, no, it's
Um, I think I've always had a look at, satire is an interesting way to deal with things, and I think post-punk music has a lot of that baked in.
yeah, they do. Well, I look forward to seeing what happens in South by Southwest and afterwards. I hope you guys have a fantastic performance.